This is a four-wheeler that I haven't done a video on in a long time. This is the Suzuki LT 230S. Best I can tell, it's from like the late 80s, early 90s. So it's an old one. In previous videos, you saw me taking this all apart, and I painted the frame. And I've had the thing running just by spraying carburetor cleaner down in it. And so I do have a new carburetor on it. I have done that. But I've bought a lot of parts for this thing. Just haven't gotten around to put them on it. None of the brakes have worked on it. The sprocket on the engine had a tooth broken on it, so I have new stuff to do that. But it's been sitting again for a long time. It's all filthy, dirty, dusty. Got some wiring stuff to figure out here too. I'm going to start with the front brakes. I have this whole deal right here already pre-bled and all that. I'm hoping I can just put this whole thing on there as one unit. So I'm going to get started with taking all this old stuff off. This wheel bearing on this side has a little bit of slop to it, so I'm probably just going to see if I can, maybe just a matter of this nut needs to be tightened up. It looks like it's awfully loose, but I think I'm going to go ahead and see if I can grease these a little bit. Any and all of what you just saw probably got tossed out the window because the cheap little Amazon kit that I bought that says fits this four-wheeler. The brake kit does not. So I ended up spending hours and hours of taking these brake lines off, using a guitar string, a piece of wire, brake cleaner, penetrating oil, anything I could to try to get these brake lines all opened up, because every one of them was clogged. I was able to get everything cleaned out, and I did use the new. Now I know y'all can't see from that side, but I do have brakes now. It will lock it up. Like to never got them bled. Worked on that a long time, but I did use the master cylinder off of the new brake kit. Just couldn't use any of the calipers. So on to the next thing, I guess, is the back brakes. So let's try that. Well, no surprise, but I've tried to get this brake master cylinder to pump up and can't get it to do anything. So I ordered another one from Amazon. It didn't say that it fit this motorcycle, but it's a good thing because it doesn't. But also the holes don't line up, they don't mount the same, nothing. So what I think I'm going to do is actually weld these holes up and drill new ones and just be done with it. Try to make this one work, because I've tried to find one online that's supposedly for this motorcycle or for this four-wheeler, and I haven't found one. So I'm just going to try to make this work. Well, I didn't show you every step of me doing this, but basically got that welded up, re-drilled, bolted on. Had to make a little extension piece to bring this down a little further right here. Mount the reservoir up here. Had to do just a little bit with that. I just had to put a longer bolt and some spacers behind it. But we actually have pressure on there now, and it's actually building up and bleeding. So I guess the next thing, I'm gonna try to get this chain on. I got the sprocket on over here. This is not very tight right here. I don't really know. I'm probably gonna have to get a new nut for that. It's like one of those neoprene washer nuts to hold that on there. But the new sprocket on there. I think I'm gonna get the chain on there. Then I'll see about getting the gas tank on there and seeing if I can do something with some of this wiring right here. Well, this four-wheeler hasn't had any plastics since I've had it. And this is actually the plastics off of the 250 Suzuki that I tore apart to get the motor for the semi. This is the plastics off of it. And trying to make them work on this frame, I finally got all the pieces together for this frame to set together. And there's this bumper right here, but I've just got it just sitting on there right now. What I'm going to try to do is put well, I don't know if I can show it to you or not. This crossbar going right here, I'm going to try to work with one of these holes in this bracket. I think it's probably going to have to come out to, you know, maybe that hole, and then hopefully I'll be able to turn. But I'm going to try to get something welded onto the front of here for that to bolt up. I know it's kind of hard to see in there. And then this bar that's just out here in the middle of no man's land, it's got to mount some kind of way to the frame too, because that's part of what holds all this front end together. See if what I can do on this to get this started. I really ought to be putting gas in this thing and going out and ripping on it first to make sure that it is going to work before I spend all this time. But the weather's pretty crappy, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. After a ton of test fitting, yes, this is a piece of unistrut. I got it fastened up in there, had to do a bunch of bracing and welding up in there. And I added these two pieces right here. And the back fender was one continuous loop around this way. And of course I had to cut that apart. But this is what I ended up with. And that's what this piece does. I actually, as you can see, notched it where it'll be exposed here, but then I'll have a big washer with a rubber grommet and a big fender washer on there. Fits under the seat nicely. This is actually the seat that came on this four-wheeler. Then got the front fender, and I added these bars right here going across to tie that in. This front end piece, I put these little tabs on here, these bars coming off the frame for that to bolt to. But I got to cut this, I'm still going to cut this here, and I'm going to have to cut these and pull them forward because they're hitting the tires right now. And this used to go across the tank and around, and I actually made it, it was one piece, this all the way around here, and then this center piece was a separate piece that fastened in. And actually what I did is I glued all this together, pinned this and glued it all together where this would all be one piece, and then cut it from around the tank because it wasn't fitting on there real good anyway. So that's what I got so far. So I may end up having to put another little tab on the bottom of this, from this over to the frame, either here to here or something there to brace that up, just to hold that. And then I'm going to bring bars down from these little tabs right here. These hold the front end of this rack, which it's pretty sturdy, but I think I'm going to run a piece from here and fasten it down here some kind of way. So I still got a little bit of work to do, but at least I'm going to have fenders on here now, all the way around. Well, I lost the bottom part of it. So anyway, that's what we'll end up with. And then this bar right here goes up in there. When I get it all done, I'll probably have to trim around that exhaust a little bit. It's probably going to get a little hot. But that's where I'm at this point. I don't have the seat fastened down. This might be sketchy. Alright, first startup. Where's the switch at? Switch is probably hanging down under here somewhere. It is. Alright. Don't know which way's on either on the switch, so we'll just have to try it. Have some kind of way of fastening that up, some kind of way. first. Well guys, that's it for this video on the Suzuki four-wheeler. I only have one other video out on this one, and it's like 3 years back. So if you want to go back and look at it, it's, I think, just called the Suzuki four-wheeler. But it's been sitting around for a while. I hadn't done anything with it, so thought I'd get it back out, and I had this other four-wheeler with these plastics on it. So stay tuned for a later video. Maybe we'll have this thing all painted up and put together permanently, and we'll take it out for a rip out at the property. Maybe we could take it out there and do a little mudding with it. Yeah, it smokes a lot. I'm gonna go with it. That's how I got it. Maybe it'll clear up after it's run a little while. If it blows, I'll do something. I'll do something else. I'll put a different engine in it or whatever, or maybe rebuild this one later on. And as y'all noticed, we got a bunch of snow. First time in Tennessee we've gotten that much snow in a pretty good while, as long as I can remember, getting this much snow. And I'm sure a lot of you that don't normally get snow got snow this time too. So stay tuned, keep watching. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.